What up, everybody? Another crazy freaking week. Elon Musk buys Twitter. The left is losing, and now they're allowed to talk about it because we never could say this kind of stuff in the past. Twitter opened the doors for us to shit all over everything. And nobody believes the Pelosi story anymore. It's gotten so bad that the left is asking for a pardon or amnesty from everything stupid that they did during COVID. And we're not quite ready to have that conversation yet because, darn it, you haven't even apologized for being such an asshole yet. And I'm not ready. So there's all that. Stay tuned. Ladies and gentlemen, in the world of craziness, we are at an all-time high, but we are here to bring you popcorn to enjoy the fire in which consumes your home. Yes, I know it's personal. Yes, I know it's painful, but shouldn't we at least giggle? Ha ha ha. What about you, Tina? Is it worth giggling?
I guess that's all you can do now.
Yeah, I think that's
all you can do.
It was what they said. It was you get the red pill. Well, first you're in the blue pill.
Right. You're not awake yet.
Then you get the red pill. If you had the red pill long enough, you get the black pill.
Yeah.
And then once you've been in the black pill long enough and it's just depressing, you start digging into God and stuff like that more, and you're like, okay, some white pill. Like at the end of this, Jesus seems to still be able to reign supreme, maybe, right? And then after you've believed that and it's been 6 months to a year or 2 or 3, and you're just watching everything consistently get worse, you enter the clown pill, which is what we call the clown world, right? You take the clown pill and then you become a comedian. And that's how I got here, guys. That's how it happened. It started with Mexicans. All Mexicans are rapists, they said, that Trump said. That turned out to be a lie. Then I went down the drain. And here I am a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years later.
Wait, so would you have considered yourself like a little bit asleep, I guess, before a certain amount of time, or before very recently?
I don't know about asleep. I didn't realize the degree. When I saw the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation in 2014, I would be like, oh, the badass cops.
Right.
That was my mindset. I was
Same.
like, oh,
yeah.
the badass, the dudes that mean business. Like, we're coming after you, bro.
And like you thought
true
you
American
trusted.
justice.
Yeah.
Like it was a true American justice vibe. You know, I remember watching pump up videos for the military when they'd be like, you know, getting everything ready and then like doing the thing where they do the thing and then the jet takes off or whatever. And I was like, dude, our military's badass, you know, or whatever. And that's not true. You know what I'm saying? Our military is badass. But what I didn't understand at that point was that, they're doing the bidding of whatever corrupt politician is in power to accomplish multi-family wealth strategies for like weird elite groups of people that also happen to own massive corporations. So, yeah, I would say that
the rabbit hole goes deep.
Yeah, man, the rabbit hole goes deep.
Realize.
There's only been a couple things that I have not landed on being totally accurate in the rabbit hole so far.
What do you mean?
Well, like obviously when somebody says you go into the rabbit hole, you take the red pill or whatever, they could be talking about anything from the seeming existence of aliens. They could be talking about the usage of UFOs. They could be talking about the elite circles of pedophiles. They could be talking about adrenochrome. They could be talking about cutting the faces off of people and wearing them. Who knows what, right? So there's all these rabbit holes, and there's only been like 2 or 3 ones where I have to be like, I can't say no yet,
right? But
I have to draw a line and say that I can't say yes either,
right?
You know, and one of those is the mass scale production and usage of adrenochrome in the way that everybody acts like it's being used and whatever. I have not found enough information about that to be able to say that's absolutely probably certain or something like that. I haven't found that. Also, reptilians, I'm not on that train.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm also not on the flat earth train yet.
No.
So there's like 2 or 3 that I'm like, no, that doesn't make sense to me yet. I'll listen to you because that's how it works in the world of ideas. I want to hear what you have to say. But like the elite pedophile ring, that definitely was true. We killed, like, if you don't think the government's involved with the elite pedophile ring, how did Jeffrey Epstein die? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did the dudes that everybody knew, hey, whatever happens, don't let anything happen to him and don't fall asleep and don't turn off the cameras. Oh, they fell asleep, they turned off the cameras, and he hung himself, right? So it's kind of like, all right, clearly there's some nonsense going on here with the government too.
And that's the problem with the way the media is today, because real quote-unquote conspiracy theories that are proven true and not are mixed in with the actual conspiracy theories that really aren't anything but maybe some wackadoodles. When you have the media censoring the way that they are, the truth gets mixed up in the crazy stories, and then it's up to you to kind of sift through it, and it can get so confusing sometimes, and that then you end up on the fence with certain things, or 80% one way and 20% another. So that's why we need unbiased media.
Yeah, that's why you have to have unbiased media, and you have to allow for open dialogue, you know. And honestly, fact checkers need to be done away with. And here's what I mean by that. Like, the amount of independence and independent thought somebody has to practice in order for them to not be deceived if they're just going through the internet today is too much for the average person. It is easier for them to be deceived than it is for them to figure out what the true thing is. And that's just too much work to put on the average person who doesn't suspect that they're being lied to 24/7.
It's too much pressure. Like that moral pressure.
Right. Well, like, look, remember when Virginia had the snowstorm? Virginia had a snowstorm. And there was an article that went out about if all of the vehicles that got stranded in the snowstorm had been electric vehicles, they wouldn't have been able to heat the car as long, and they all would have stopped, and they would have shut down the entire highway system or whatever, right?
Yes.
And it was basically, that was circulating around Facebook is what was being said. And at the end of it, they were like, this would have been way worse had it all been electric vehicles, because it takes so much long. You can't just bring them gas and then they're good.
Right.
That's not how it works.
Right.
You got to bring them power. And you can't just dump it in 7 to 12 minutes like it takes for gallons of gas. Right. You have to charge. And a remote charging station, like a mobile charging station, is significantly slower at recharging than whatever, right? So anyway, there's a fact check that comes on this article, right, that says, like, no, we don't know. This is misleading to a lot of people, right? So it puts the shadow on it. And anybody that is just attempting to figure out things that are true, they read that story, they go, oh, yeah, that would be worse if they were electric vehicles. I never thought of that. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, fact check? Never mind. What's it say? This is misleading. Oh, I knew it. Or
they won't even bother reading it when they see that
They just see it. Oh, okay. Well, it's misleading, right? So I broke this entire thing down in a TikTok video like a year and a half ago because it bugged me so much. But basically, when you read down paragraph like 13, paragraph like literally it was like paragraph 13 of this entire explanation said, because we don't know in the comparison which cars started with a full tank of gasoline and which cars started with a full charge, we don't know who would last longer, although gas power cars generally would last longer if they both were at full.
Right.
So they were pretending that there was all these variables that we were supposedly attempting to figure out, and they made that the reason it was misleading. It was like, no. We were saying that it is worse to sit in the cold with an electric vehicle in order to stay warm and survive and to get along afterwards than it would have been with a gas car. And they changed the entire argument and acted like we were saying something else. And then they said, well, you don't know who had more gas in their tank or who had more of a charge, so who knows? And that's why it's misleading. And it was like, this is bullshit. You know what I mean? And so the average person is not going to read 13 paragraphs.
Nope.
I did it because I knew they were lying from the get-go, because I know a little bit about cars, and I was like, I know how long cars can sit in idle, and it's like days. It's days. So anyway, they do this all the time. Well, so now that since Elon's taken over, we've got a whole new ball game. And the ball game is you're allowed to say things again. And to be honest, I feel a little bit like
gun shy.
Yeah, I'm a little gun shy on there, man. I'll see something and I'll love it, and I'll be like, wait a minute.
Backspace.
Yeah, wait a minute. That's a trigger word. They'll think that I'm...
Let me sleep on this one. I'll sleep on this
all
one.
This one particular group that seems to own all the media and every other source of entertainment. Wait a minute. That sounds a little bit too much like... I can't say that. You know what I mean? Delete.
Yeah.
But so anyway, there's just all this stuff that's going on, and nobody's buying the BS anymore. Biden put up the other day on Twitter, which I love, that one of Elon's first moves is he fired all of the jokers that were responsible for their policies related to censorship and all that.
Yeah, the law area, that it originated from that law office there. And remember,
trust in legal or trust in something like that.
She came in with Jack Dorsey during a Joe Rogan podcast that he was supposed to
Yes, I remember.
Yeah, with Tim Pool, and Tim Pool was just
he ate his
her.
lunch. Yeah. He was like, you're enforcing something. You're saying that Twitter has a morality, and that morality is
to the left.
Its roots are in the left, that you think it's immoral for whatever. And he's like, so clearly you're biased. And she was like, I don't see it that way.
She talked circles around it. She wouldn't answer certain questions.
She was like, I don't see it that way. And so, Tim Pool ate that woman's lunch, and we all figured out at that point how whack this whole thing was.
Well, Elon fired her and that whole crew.
Yeah, so they went to work, and what I love is that already Joe Biden put out a tweet that was like, I've gotten 787,000 more jobs created or whatever, and then underneath of it doesn't say fact check. It just says, we thought readers would like to know that he's conflating how many jobs were allowed to begin again, that he had stopped from working, and how many he actually created. Right, so the real number was something like 174,000 or something like that, not 780,000 or whatever the heck he said.
You can't like create a job that was like just cut off like a sink for a while, and you cut it off.
Right, the sink was turned off, and then you allowed it to open, and you're like, I created water. It's like, no, you didn't, bro. You allowed water to flow where it already should have been flowing had the government not stepped in and ruined the entire country.
Right. So what? So it was like, I guess, just a little text.
But I think he did. I think he did like 2 or 3. I think he did another one to Hillary Clinton or something like that too. But I can't remember. But dude, look, Elon. Look, say what you want about the guy. I know he's got some weird stuff, man. He's got weird kids' names. He's got some weird beliefs. He wants to go to Mars. All right, the guy's strange. But one thing I will say is that the future of humanity and us not being severely harmed in a coordinated effort by governments heavily depends on the ability to have free speech.
Yes.
Heavily depends on that throughout the world. So even if you think that Elon is bad, this was a net good, period. It could not have been worse. Guys, they had a monopoly, basically, on, meaning this ideology and this new moral system had a monopoly on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook. They all believe the exact same thing, and they think that there's nothing outside of their line of thought that is even moral.
Well,
so they've already arrived at the conclusion that what they believe is more true than what you believe, and it's the right way of doing things. They literally think that their religion is number one, which is why they have no problem telling you that you're immoral and they are moral, because they actually believe that what they're doing is good and what you believe is evil. Instead of going like we have done for so long, I'm not 100% sure about what I believe. I'm 94%, and I'm willing to have a dialogue about it. What do you think? Let's put our ideas in the same cage together and let them fight, and we'll see what happens. What were you saying?
That they are taking away the other voices, not just the belief fully in the left, but that they're taking away the other voices for that dialogue that we should be having. So there is none. And then younger generations are only exposed to
one
their
side.
Left crazy. So they start thinking this must be normal. And the other stuff are just the crazy fringe when it's not so. So they skew the numbers that way as well. It's perception. That's why some of these companies started going woke, because they were listening to Twitter people and not realizing that Twitter wasn't the real world. It's only 10% of our population is
right. They're just the
it.
Loudest.
Right.
And they're the loudest portion. And they are heavily endorsed because they're heavily indoctrinated from the massive corporations that seek to benefit with more government control over humans.
Universities.
Period.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's where that's all coming from. There's corporations that are set to profit massively if we can get more control of people, period. That's just the case, right? And then we've got basically, because really at the end of the day, that's what it all comes down to, is power. You know, that's what this whole thing comes down to, is they are looking to gain more and more power, which is why you can't just look at one piece of this and go, this is always my problem when I'm trying to explain this to people that I love, that are like, explain to me why everything's corrupt, right? I'll be talking about one sliver of a pie that I know there's 1,000 other pieces of the pie, and I'm going, do you see how the the FDA didn't care about this? Do you see how they allowed for this? Do you see how many deaths came from it? Do you see the penalties that the corporation paid? Do you see who paid to get the FDA's approval on this? Put it all together. What happened? Oh, it's a little bit of corruption. Yep. Okay. Glad you admitted that with me. Now let me show you where it's happening everywhere. And then let me show you those group of people that helped it to happen. That is a small clique of people that decided it 5 to 10 years ago. And let me explain how they work and how this works with the HR department and how this works with the equity division and how this works with the whatever. And then you start to see, oh my God, it's not all just these different companies in different countries came up with these new set of morals and they all just happen to believe it. No, they're all tentacles of a bigger octopus called communism, called socialism, called totalitarianism, called we know what's best for the future of humanity, whether we were elected or not. Therefore, we will control everything. Whether you like it or not, we'll fine you out of existence with our banks and our fines if you don't agree with us as a country, which is what happened to Sri Lanka when they were like, we need fertilizer, we need to get our loans again. And they were like, well, you're not going to get any loans for your country, sorry, unless you submit to our new rules called ESG, environment, social, and governance or whatever. And then they submitted to it, had to stop using all their nitrogen, and now they're starving over there. Starvation is imminent, as the articles say right now, because they don't have enough food. So the people that were supposed to be telling them that everything, we're doing this for your good, are causing massive harm. And this is a consistent theme through all of it, right? The EPA, I mean, dude, I could go on this for years. If you just think about the fact that we told everybody that ivermectin, I can't say the real name probably yet because this will go on YouTube, but if you just look at ivermectin, right, and you look at the history of it and how not bad for people it was in comparison to so many other drugs, and the fact that they demonized it so bad to say like it can kill you and things like that if you know, or whatever, it was just, these people do not have your best interest in mind. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. But all this to say, everybody, the left is losing the culture war. They're losing the control of the narrative. And it's easy to see as time goes on. One of the things that it's easy to see this week is now that stuff can trend freely on Twitter, we're seeing a lot of funny stuff trend. And one of them is Paul Pelosi's gay lover. Right? So I'm not saying that he is a gay lover. I'm saying that was trending, YouTube people. But what I want to show you, though, is just a little bit about this. I just want to look into Paul Pelosi's DUI process real quick from like a month ago so you guys can see that. Jesse, can you open that thing there so we can pull that up too? So this is from Cat Turd. Everybody loves Cat Turd. So remember Paul Pelosi's changing DUI story. It started with the minor incident. Then it was Paul's car was damaged. Then it was Paul's car was totaled. No other car was involved. Then it was 2 cars were totaled, but no one was injured. Then it was second driver was badly injured. Then it was the second person. Then there was a second person in Paul's car. And then the video reveals Paul couldn't even walk. Right. So we've got this slow release, right? Where now, if you would have made a video about any of those first 7 things that turned out to be true, but said it before the media had approved it, you would have got a strike on your account probably for each one of those individual things that turned out to be true, but the media wasn't ready to admit that it was true yet. Just like they did with the Hunter Biden laptop right before the election happened this last time, right? So there's a new thing out about Mr. Paul Pelosi that we just don't quite believe. Pull this up, Tina.
Priority 910, 2640 Broadway, across of Scott and Normandy. I have a 14-hour copy. RP stated that there's a male in the home and that he's going to wait for his wife. RP stated that he doesn't know who the male is, but he advised that his name is David and that he is a friend. RP sounded somewhat confused. He is a friend. RP sounded somewhat confused.
He's a friend. He's a friend.
Code 3 2640 Broadway for 14-hour.
So the story right now that they're saying is that basically a right-wing MAGA person came in and tried to beat Paul Pelosi to death with a hammer. That's basically what we're being told by the news, right? Some random person off the streets came in who was a hardcore MAGA guy, whatever. That's what they say, right? When you dig just, 3 inches into this, you find out that, number one, this dude was heavily supportive of BLM. that he had to have been allowed into the complex because Nancy and her husband are both guarded by police or even Capitol Police. I found out that
the thing
they have Capitol Police. There's no way he could have got in.
The thing is
without being accepted or allowed.
Right. They expect us to believe. Now, okay, something happens to the president. Who's next? Who's next? VP.
Yeah.
Something happens to VP. Guess who's next?
Speaker.
So you're telling me that you don't have Secret Service or some sort of security detail on the husband of the third person in line to take the throne, because at this point it's a throne, of presidency in this country. You don't, come on. Do you believe that?
Yeah, so apparently that can be the case. So since Homeboy was let in some kind of way and was there for some time, and then apparently Paul Pelosi, I'm guessing, called 911 or somebody did.
He did. Apparently he said that David during his attack, let him use the restroom. What attacker would say, hey, listen, I need to beat the crap out of you. Oh, I got to pee. Okay, go ahead. Use the bathroom.
All right. I'm here to beat you up, not do anything wrong. Golly, I'm not going to hold you up from going potty, man.
Right. Let him go. And that's what he said. Pelosi said that his phone was charging in the restroom. And because David let him use the restroom, that is when he was able to sneak in the phone call.
And he called him a friend.
Yes. And you saw the dispatcher or the police said it twice. I think that's significant.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Look, if I was Nancy Pelosi and my husband got a DUI charge that won't go away and everybody keeps talking about it, and he's also annoying, and I'm super old and he's super old and he does a lot of other shenanigans, I might be in the mindset of Nancy Pelosi to be like, what can we do to take him out?
I mean, this is just our opinion. This is just our opinion, because you know they're going to come for us if we suggest that. But this is just our opinion.
Yeah, it's just my opinion. I'm not saying, look, Nancy probably loves her husband.
I wouldn't blame her.
She's a great Catholic who loves abortion, so she probably hates murder too, right?
Right, exactly.
Totally.
On the picture, have you seen the picture of the busted window?
No.
The busted window, all the glass is on the outside. So...
he didn't break in.
Right. When you smash in a window, you'll get some glass, but the glass is going to go this way, wherever way you're hitting. And he's saying that's what happened. It looks like maybe there was a tussle inside or something.
Oh, I bet there was a tussle. Probably a tussle in the sheets.
They both were in their underwear.
In our opinion.
In our opinion,
allegedly, they were both in their undies.
And both had hammers.
Yes,
it's crazy.
No pun, and that's in our opinion.
Allegedly. This is actually in the
affidavit. In our opinion.
It's in the affidavit.
In an affidavit, they allegedly, in our opinion, say that. Whatever we got to do so that I can say this and not get in trouble, that's all I'm going to do.
So apparently, they say, put the weapons down. You guys put your weapons down. And Paul Pelosi put his down and was like listening to the cops. And the other guy did too for like a little bit. And then he kind of went off again and then grabbed Pelosi's hammer and then started whacking him. That the police rushed towards him. So at one point.
So he was whacking Paul.
Yeah,
wow.
Exactly. So at one point, though, they were both standing there squared off with hammers. The news is also trying to say that he came to the house with 2 hammers in his backpack. How did he know where the master bedroom was? Apparently he broke in and Paul Pelosi was asleep and he went straight to the master bedroom. How would you know in that huge mansion where that is? We saw Nancy's house during the pandemic, remember?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's not that unreasonable. I feel like I could search inside of a house for a little while, but nobody simply snuck into their house, okay?
Right. No that's security just not camera footage?
Yeah, no secure. Oh, they were all she had 28 cameras, I think is what it was, that malfunctioned that night.
Wow.
Yeah, the same dude that was watching Epstein was watching that house.
Yeah.
So anyway, not that all this matters, but the point is this, guys. They can't bullshit anymore. They want us to leave this stuff alone. They want us to stop asking questions and they want to call a truce. Mm-hmm. They're like, just leave it alone. You don't understand. Our lives are just different. Leave us alone. We want a truce. And I want to talk about a truce real quick, or a pardon to the lefties, or an amnesty. The Atlantic put out an article. I want you guys to read this real quick. Pull this up, Tina. We have to put these fights aside and declare a pandemic amnesty. We can leave out the willful purveyors of actual misinformation while forgiving the hard calls that people had no choice but to make with imperfect knowledge. They closed the beaches. This makes so much more sense than my family's mass hiking trips, but we need to, this doesn't make much more sense. But anyway, we need to learn from our mistakes and let them go. We need to forgive the attacks too, because I thought schools should reopen, and argue that kids as a group were not at high risk. I was called a teacher killer and a genocide or whatever. It wasn't pleasant, but feelings were high, and I certainly don't need to dissect and rehash that time for the rest of my days. Yeah, you do. Let's keep scrolling down, though, because I want to read this. Moving on is crucial now because the pandemic created many problems that we still need to solve. Well, this doesn't sound like anybody's apologizing for anything. Kind of sounds like
just forget about it. Let's just forget it and move on. When it's not just nobody's feelings just got hurt. People lost their livelihoods. Families have been torn apart. People murked themselves because they lost their jobs and the way to feed their family. So no, we can't just, just forget it. It cannot, forgiveness is not impossible, but you can't just go,
not like this.
Just forget it.
That's a toxic, I put this video up, and shout out Dinesh D'Souza and shout out Mike Cernovich. You guys both tweeted it. Thank you. But I put this video up, and it was basically saying that it is, the metaphor to say it is kind of like they kidnapped all of us and put us on an island, and then like within 2 days, half of the people were like, we should eat them. And we're like, what the flip? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's only been 2 days. And then they came and got us from the island, and now we're just on the ride back. And we're just looking at them, and they're like, that was so crazy. Oh my God, we all went nuts. And it's like, nah, bitch. Like, we all didn't go nuts. Mm-hmm. Like, I didn't tell you couldn't come to barbecues. I didn't tell you couldn't get hospital treatment here because you didn't have the vaccine and you're not welcome. I didn't tell you weren't allowed to go sit with your elderly father while he died because you're a threat to the population. Like, so, nah, baby, we aren't done talking about this. We aren't done. Mm-mm. Okay. And I want to go over some of the stuff that we have to, because look, anybody in a relationship, part of the way that you move forward in a relationship is that the other person in a relationship says out loud, I recognize what I did wrong, and I'm sincerely going to do my best to not repeat that behavior, right? That's called grounds for being able to move forward with somebody. Not to forgive them. I don't need their help to forgive them. I'll forgive you, but I'll never trust you again, right, under those circumstances. So in order for me to trust you again, which is really what this article is calling for, you have to show signs that you are capable of understanding when the government is manipulating you next time. Because I don't want to be the one who has to tell you.
They have to admit what they did wrong first. Then tell us how we should carefully watch the government together. But first they have to admit what they did first.
Right. And what you did was wrong. So let's go over. We're going to go least to worst as far as some of the worst things that happened inside of the lockdowns and what they did for people. The first one, I think, which is the least damaging, is probably that businesses suck. Businesses, customer service, just as a whole, since the pandemic, that's probably the least, bloody thing we could talk about, is that customer service as a whole in the country just sucks way more now. I don't know about you guys. All the Walmart stopped 24/7, which maybe we didn't ever need that, but I don't care. With the reason we all went to Walmart is because it was super convenient and easy and customer focused, and that just doesn't seem to be the same thing anymore. They aren't going 24/7, and it's like, well, I don't know. I bet you another competitor would, had they not been propped up by taxpayer money. I bet you another competitor would have been like, we have to keep going because capitalism, and we'll get somebody will out-choose us if we don't do this. So anyway, customer service got worse. Food sucks way worse. Prices got way worse. Customer service in the food industry went down a ton. Being able to kind of like riff with the waiter and stuff like that, and all of the menus are now digital instead of physical, and that kind of takes away the vibe of restaurants a little bit. So you've got restaurants that suck worse. You've got stores that aren't open as many hours. You had, of the businesses that closed, Yelp reported that 60% of the businesses that closed their doors were closed permanently. So that's a ton of businesses that are permanently shut out. And according to the big boys that do the stat numbers on this, it was the largest wealth transfer in human history that happened during the pandemic. So this isn't just a nothing. I'm just starting with the least annoying part of the lockdowns, which was customer service sucks, businesses suck, all their prices went different, and let's just start there. American businesses now suck like 30% more than they used to. Hotels don't change out towels and do cleanups as quickly or as frequently as they used to. Prices for everything kind of went up. So anyway, there's that. What's the second one we have on there? School?
The IQs?
Yeah, so school progress went down a ton, but that's not even the big one. Let's pull this actual up now, Jesse. This is the real one.
So development dip. Researchers tested the cognitive performance of more than 600 children aged 3 months to 3 years, including 39 babies born during COVID-19. On average, those assessed in 2020 and 2021 scored lower on tests of early learning, including language, puzzle solving, and motor skills such as standing and walking.
How much lower? Well, the average was about 100, and now the average is about 80.
78, actually.
78. So 22 points out of what was 100, basically. So we're talking about IQ, everybody. I just want you to just chew on this for a second. Imagine everybody you knew was 25% dumber. Everybody you knew, an entire generation of people, significantly less skeptical of like the government and significantly less situationally aware, significantly less capable of gaining financial freedom because they're literally, the IQ has been made to be lower, right? We're talking about an entire generation that got like a quarter of the way dumber. Like there's not a better way to say this. Like we're 25% dumber than we were, that generation, right? Well, that's got to have some results somewhere along the line. Somebody's going to be like, dude, these people are struggling with lead poisoning again. Like 50 years from now, they're going to be like, these people are going back down the train of like lead poisoning. They just keep drinking lead. You know, like we're going to have some people that are doing some dumb shit at some point in the future because of the lack of IQ building activities that would normally happen in a non-lockdown era versus a lockdown era that somehow made everybody dumber. This was part of it, though. Not being able to see people's mouth when they talk really takes away from social IQ levels. They've done a lot of studies on that.
Yeah, it's a big part of childhood development is the facial expressions that we do. Nonverbal communication, and a lot of it is facial expressions, not just body language.
Yeah,
so.
Not 90% of communication is nonverbal.
Yep.
Well, so all right.
We have the article right here. Let's show them.
Yeah, let's show them so you don't think I'm a liar.
edsource.org.
Can you pull this up, Jesse?
Pandemic effects may have lowered babies' IQ, study says. And then right here. Right here. A score was hovering around 100, but the test scores of babies born during the pandemic fell sharply to around 78, 22 points lower. Right there, this is a .org website, so I know that's a thing.
Yeah,
we're more trusting of those.
I mean, look, and we're just talking about the first finger of this, guys. Mm-hmm. Let's get ready for the next one. So then we had. What do we got? Childhood obesity. Yeah, so let's talk about the CDC's side about childhood obesity during the lockdown, okay? Everybody knows America had a fat kid problem, right? Mm-hmm. I was eating Frosted Flakes from the get-go, son. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Frosted Flakes, fat ass. Cinnamon Toast Crunch, Frosted Flakes gets say it with me, Tina, a fat ass. Me, right? So that's what happened to me. I was childhood obesity. It happened to me. You're talking about me, coach. I'm the fatty that don't want to be fat no more. But damn it, that damn government dog come out there and told me that the food pyramid, I need to eat my carbohydrates. So I did. And then I got fat all of a sudden. So let's talk about how much worse it got for people. Worse. How much more fat? Zoom into that. Yep. It's that top paragraph.
Okay.
A study of 432,000 children ages 2 to 19 found that the rate of body mass index, BMI, increased nearly doubled during the COVID-19 pandemic compared to a pre-pandemic period. Woo. This faster increase was most pronounced in children with overweight or obesity or younger school-aged children. Yikes, dude.
I mean, kids.
Twice as fat.
I mean, that's when you're supposed to be. That's what do you say? I'm sorry.
Gordo.
Oh yeah, that's when you're supposed to be your skinniest. Usually, everybody talks about, oh, when I was a kid, I was so skinny.
When I was a kid, I was hanging on them jungle gyms, hanging on the monkey bars.
Now people can't say that. Like, that's a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty big one. The childhood depression rate went through the roof.
Yeah.
We don't have to bring up the stat, but the childhood depression rate, I think, doubled or tripled. Suicide attempt rate doubled or tripled, allegedly, or in my opinion. I can't remember if that's true. I know it's at least, it's enough that you'd be like, wow, that's a big enough deal that it's probably hurt more people than anything related to if we would have just stayed open. So we're not done yet. Zoom into this one, Tina. 4 in 10 U.S. adults, this is from the CDC, everybody, reported avoiding medical care because of concerns related to COVID-19. Oh, okay, what kind? Let's zoom in there. Delaying or avoiding urgent or emergency care was more common among who? Oh, people with disabilities and people with 2 or more underlying conditions. Oh, you mean like cancer treatments, kidney dialysis, I don't know, other types of
blood pressure.
Yeah, the high blood pressure, rudimentary things you're supposed to do. Well, I want to avoid catching COVID. I'm so afraid of it. I'm going to delay my cancer treatments, right? If you don't think that they scared you stupid, then just say that out loud. I didn't go to my cancer treatments because I was afraid of catching COVID.
Which is a cold at this point, allegedly.
Yeah, which is allegedly about as lethal as the flu. Allegedly, right? Which nobody knew that before. Now Bill Gates openly says it, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say yet if YouTube caught up or not with whether I'm permitted to say what Bill Gates, their overlord, says, But either way, so there we go. We have that one. But then we've got a bigger one. Why don't you bring up excess deaths real quick? Do we have that?
Oh, the excess deaths? Yes.
Life insurance companies are reporting some weird stuff, people.
So right here is excess deaths, and usually they're able to calculate within a certain range of what excess deaths are going to be from just like what they can't predict. Like, is there more car accidents this July or blah blah blah? It's very close. They do a great job. The statistic people do a great job at calling the numbers. Well, it has skyrocketed since 2020.
Jeez. And March 2020 was when they first started doing the trials for the what.
Yep. Let me see. We also have.
I think we're still in a trial, though, technically. Allegedly, in my opinion.
I think you're right, actually. Right here is from the biggest insurance companies in our country, related to life insurance, of course, is for the quarter of 2020, 2020 to 2022. Oh, no, excuse me. Quarter 2 of 2022. Excuse me. The total baseline deaths have increased 133%.
133%.
Ever since, and look, even in 2020, up 123%, and it just keeps going. It went down a little, and then it just keeps going up.
Bring up that other one, too, that's got that, do we have another chart? Yes, that one. Yes. That's the one.
Yeah, that's the one I was actually, I think.
Yes. So 35 to 44-year-olds. I put this chart on something like 8 months ago, 9 months ago, but nobody cared about it then. But maybe they'll care about it now.
And look, they're still up.
Quarter 3 in 2021, 200% increase in excess mortality. Well, we know it's not from COVID, right, everybody? Since that was only supposed to be a certain percentage more of the deaths that were happening a year, wasn't 200% more.
Why? Didn't the jab work?
Didn't the jab help with? Yeah, shouldn't the jab help with that?
You weren't supposed to.
What's everybody dying from? Is Flint water going everywhere, or did you shoot it in our veins? Bye, everybody. I'm just kidding.
No, it's. I mean, the numbers don't lie. The numbers don't lie. Something happens.
Something's happening.
Something's going on where all these excess deaths and the timing. I mean.
Yeah, and these people, look, they want to act like
what
we're saying is bonkers.
Yeah, they're like, climate change is causing
climate change.
Blood. Yeah,
black tea. What? They said black tea.
They did?
Yes, they were like, black tea is causing more deaths. They were saying Austin Fleckas and Richard Ratboy have a hilarious show. You guys got to go check them out. But look up Fleckas and Richard Ratboy. Okay, they have a hilarious show, and they have like a segment on their show every once in a while where they'll say new reasons you're going to get blood clots because the news keeps coming out with other new reasons that you could be getting blood clots. Yes, and one of them was being outside in the heat.
Unbelievable.
Because of climate change, like it's so hot outside now somehow that you're getting blood clots. Was it going to boil? Nah, dude, this blood's different. When it gets hot, it gets thicker, right? Just like oil and everything else. Oh, that's not how that works? No, not how that works at all. Anyway. I want to show you guys some specific examples though, just so we're clear about how devastating this truly was for people. Now, we showed this on our show before, Tina. We showed this 6 weeks ago, something like that. The woman who was at the funeral home and her sons or whoever went to comfort her, and the funeral director stopped them. They were like,
yes.
Back on your side.
Yes, I remember.
Or whatever. So that's nothing. That is one little peak. And I'm not saying it's nothing, but I did say it's nothing, but I didn't mean that it's nothing. What I meant was that's one peek into how terrible this stuff really was.
It wasn't rare.
Let's start with Robbie Starbucks' Twitter feed about this. Because they said, hey, chime in if you've been mistreated because of the lockdowns in some ways. And guys, you have to see this stuff.
Some people ask me where I'm mistreated. I had medical problems that occurred after my vaccine 19 months ago. This is one of the ones that started to occur. My throat would close up and I would have laryngeal spasms. They can't find a diagnosis. But the only thing that started all this cascade of problems and multiple systems to go wrong started a couple days after my second vaccine. Because I have laryngitis.
So she's a physical therapist, okay? She's not just a nobody, but I don't even want to just look at one. I want you to go to his Twitter, and I want to just scroll through Jesse Kelly's Twitter. Let's just scroll through and see what some of these other people were saying. You can zoom into this one.
So this is how it kicked off, right?
Yeah, this is how it kicks off. Go ahead.
If you suffered hardship during COVID because of lockdowns, social distancing, and mandates, reply below with your story and go.
Had to watch my father die using only FaceTime while he was alone fighting in the hospital Christmas week of 2020. That's a picture from it.
My 30-year-old son-in-law couldn't see a doctor for sharp pain in belly. Zoom doctor told him kidney stones. 7 months later, he finally could see a doctor. Diagnosed with stage 4 terminal kidney cancer. No diagnosis or chemo per lockdown. Now metastatic. My daughter is devastated. We all are.
Keep scrolling down. This is a crazy one. My grandma died from loneliness in a nursing home. She is not the only person that's saying stuff like this. Guys, zoom into these before and after pictures. That one on the left and then two to the right.
Here's the before. So this was before the lockdowns. And after.
Go over one more. Crazy, man. Now, could there be other stuff that might have been wrong with her? Maybe. But this is not the only. You have to understand, I was looking at this stuff when it first happened. There was an entire thread that happened about people in nursing homes before and after 3 months, right? Let's look at a few more of those from Jesse Kelly, because there's a couple in there that I want to highlight just because it's important to realize how deep of a wound this truly was to the country, to the people. My brother and his wife were regulated to hospital parking lot while their daughter lay dying in the ICU. He was giving the docs permission to amputate her arm via phone in a last-ditch effort to save her when the pizza delivery guy walked by them into the hospital unchecked. After she died, the hospital shut down all deliveries and refused to allow them to have her body shipped home for a funeral. Said it would be months, had to get a lawyer, right? Tell me that's not wrong. I'm all for public safety, but having my grandpa be buried by only 6 people on Monday because of California law is insane. He had 11 children, 10 grandchildren, and another 8 nieces plus friends who couldn't be there. No requiem mass, no procession, no wake. This is wrong. This is a consistent theme throughout the pandemic, and that is that the thing that was meant from their lips to reduce human suffering made way for some of the largest human suffering that we've seen in our lifetime, as far as especially government sanctioned, like you're allowed to treat people like this, you know. And I remember Rachel, whatever her name, Maddow, going on TV and going, as soon as they dropped the mask mandate, she was like, I'm still gonna wear mine, and I'm really having to readjust my mindset to not think if I see somebody that doesn't have a mask, I'm not immediately thinking you're a threat, you're a science denier, you're a this, you're a that, you're a mass spreading machine. Like, she was saying this on live, and I'm like, remember. What do you think is more damaging to people? But the chance of potentially catching COVID, or the mental framework to walk around viewing every other human face you see as a threat. You don't think that that's going to have some devastating mental issue consequences in the long run? Like, there's what is there? So many studies about the symptoms that happen to people inside of anxiety and depression, where physical symptoms happen to your physical body because of psychosomatic issues, I believe is what they call it, right?
That's what it's called.
There's just large percentage of people that happens to, and you're sowing seeds of that into people going, hey, maybe you're right. Maybe they should be a threat. And you get anxiety every time you see people's open faces. These people are not your friends. And now we know it. And Twitter is more free than it was a week ago today. So that's wonderful. The world is coming together against this crazy hard wing left thing that's happening. But I do want to talk about something real quick, just so everybody knows. The Indian prime minister, whatever they have in India, basically congratulated the UK prime minister that just took position in UK, and basically said that we're going to work together towards the 2030 roadmap, right? Well, the 2030 roadmap is basically ESG, which is the same thing that Sri Lanka did that made all their people go starving. It's the same thing that the Netherlands is attempting to do, which is why all the farmers are freaking out, is they're basically, in the name of trying to preserve the world so less people die, they're allowing for policies that make people die. That's what's happening, okay? And they're all in on it, and we're not just going to sweep it under the rug, because the next time they're going to try to lock us down for stuff, it's going to have to do with the climate, and we got to stay strong mentally and emotionally and argumentatively and every other kind ofly. Check it out, boo boo.
Do we want to show the...
Oh, yeah. This is a good one. Okay, bring this up, Jesse. This is, I want you to zoom into the bottom left, okay?
Bottom left?
Yeah. This is from all the way bottom left. Workplace Mental Health Institute. So clearly this is not a conservative outlet, guys.
I was looking at the circle. Sorry.
Okay, everybody, at the bottom left there, it just says abusive relationships can arise anywhere. Okay? With partners, friends, families, workplaces, or governments. If you can recognize these signs and are concerned that you may be in an abusive relationship, don't panic, but take action. Okay, how can we know if we're in an abusive relationship? Let's just read some of these. Number 1, you're made to stop seeing your friends and family.
Oh my God.
That counts.
Control the finances. Won't let you work.
Won't let you go out without permission. They tell you what to wear. You can zoom in on it, Jesse. I like it bigger. Let's see. Monitor your phone or emails. Yep. Control the finances. Yep. Remember when they were talking about vouchers coming from the government that you can only spend on certain things they deem essential?
Like stamps. Yeah.
Yes.
Tell you you're crazy and no one agrees with you. Wow.
Yep. Tell you it's for your own good and that they know better. Punish you for breaking the rules. How many people had how many salons in Texas how many salon owners got arrested for trying to stay open? Yep. Call you names and shame you for being stupid or selfish.
Yep.
Right. Everybody's concerned about their rights. Gaslight you, challenge your memory of events, or make you doubt yourself. Dismiss your opinions. Play the victim if things go wrong. Wow.
The irony that you're right, that this is probably by some health institute that's probably government funded, full of liberal things.
Yes, and then they just told on themselves.
Oh my
Guys,
gosh.
every one of the things we just read was something that was done to people who were unvaccinated or vaccinated. Some of them got shamed. So hope this helps. You're in an abusive relationship with the government. Now you know. Ross the Boss helped you figure it out. Bada boop boop. Break up with them, dude. That or vote all red from now on. And only vote red as long as the people are actually doing what we think they should be doing, to the degree that they adhere to the Constitution. As soon as they step out of it, bro, we got no problem smacking them in the head, metaphorically.
No Liz Cheneys. No
Liz Cheney's, no no Mitt Romney's,
Get 'em out.
no John McCain's, no Paul Ryan. I don't need no more rhinos, baby. We need the people that actually think the government should stay in its own damn lane, and we don't need the Dan Crenshaws and everybody getting rich off this nonsense either. Anyway, hope this helps everybody. Hang in there. We'll see you next week. We're having a lot of changes to the studio in the next month that are going to be happening that are pretty exciting. And last but not least, if you are sick and tired of spending your time and money and energy at places and businesses like we just talked about that are not concerned with actually helping you, and you want to try out a different business that actually loves America, has way less toxic products, and actually is Patriot owned, check the link in my bio on Instagram. We'll set up a tour for you, me and my team. We'd love to show you around. God bless everybody. Have a good night. But a doop doop doop. Shigaboo.